Safety in Las Cruces. So moving to Las Cruces has crossed your mind. And of course, safety is always at the top of the list when we're looking to relocate to a new area. Plus, you can't just visit for a weekend and know if a neighborhood is actually safe. You miss all the stuff that actually matters. What is it like at night? Who your potential neighbors might be? Whether you'll feel comfortable walking your dog at 6 in the morning. One thing I always tell my buyers is if you are looking at homes and there is a certain home that you like or a certain area that you would like to live in, visit during different times of the day. Now, I know this is easier for people that already live here, but if you're, relocating, you come to visit, take another day. Now, if we're working together, of course, I will more than be happy to go and take videos at night of these locations. At times after people are home from work, because of course, during the day, neighborhoods seem all fine and dandy, but in the evening, once everybody's home, you kind of you get that feel for the neighborhood. So you might get to meet your future neighbors. You never know. I'm Elaine Lucchini, and I live in Sonoma Ranch, which is what I think is the heart of Las Cruces. I've helped a lot of families relocate to Las Cruces, and the safety questions always come up. Like there's nobody that hasn't asked me, how is Las Cruces safe? Because of course they see the stats. We're also a small city. So let me show you a little bit more about what the data won't tell you. Okay. So it's easy to go on Google and ask the question or check on the stats on Neighborhood Scout. And look, the data matters, but here's what I've learned. Crime stats don't always tell you how certain locations feel. You can live in two different neighborhoods and have similar rates of crime, but one will feel a lot safer than the other. And that's just because stats don't will not tell you the whole picture. They don't tell you, are people walking out at night and feel safe? They don't tell you how the neighbors are. They don't tell you if you can leave your garage open at night and still be safe. Do you feel safe walking to the cluster box to get your mail? Like all of those things matter. Let's shift from crime data to actual lifestyle fit. The question isn't, is Las Cruces safe? It's which neighborhood in Las Cruces matches my lifestyle and what that safety means to me. So let me show you what I mean. So let me break down neighborhood by neighborhood, and I'm going to give you kind of like that real picture of what these neighborhoods feel like and crime data. I don't have the stats, but I can tell you what they feel like because I go through them daily. So let's start here with Sonoma Ranch because this is where I live and I can speak from personal experience. So I head to the gym at 5 in the morning and I know that I see joggers in the dark. I see people walking their dogs. I see young people. I see old people. Like I've never seen issues like not like as a safety concern here where I live. And I really do like appreciate that. And it's probably one of the reasons that I picked this location. Even when I lived on the other side of town, I remember I used to run marathons. So for me, training used to take me like around the city. And I remember running up this way in the mornings because I liked the sidewalks, just how wide they were. And so I fell in love with this neighborhood before I was even doing real estate. You get home and you walk your dog, especially me, like I show houses up until late. So I'll see people out walking back from the grocery store. I see people out with their dogs at 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And I don't think anybody really thinks about it twice. And that should give you that feel of how safe Sonoma Ranch feels. Now, Sonoma Ranch is very vast, but just because of where we lie in the east side of the city and just kind of away from like the downtown, that's kind of what gives it that vibe of feeling safe. I feel like I have really solid neighbors, like the kind of neighbors that look out for each other. I know that I have left my garage door open and I've gotten a call from my neighbor saying like, hey, Elaine, I don't see any cars. Thank you so much because of course, now you have access to the house. It's not just what's in the garage. I know I've also left my keys inside my vehicle outside so anybody could just like jump in right off. And so it just goes to show what a great neighborhood this is. One other thing I like about this neighborhood is just because we're not like in the middle of the city, the nights are super quiet. We actually do have like a fire station that's not so far, and we have a police station that's not so far. But it's not like crazy, like you're going to be hearing the sirens at all times of the night. There's not a lot of that, especially because we don't have a lot that goes on in Las Cruces. But I'm very, very grateful because I lived in Miami for a while. And that was one thing like I loved Miami. It was great. But one thing is that that city, it never felt restful. Like if you opened up your window or if you went outside, like you just lived in the middle of city noise. So of course, if you're coming from a big city like Seattle, Portland, Bay Area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that low level city noise. And we don't get that very much here. Even in the middle of Las Cruces, you don't really get that. But mostly up here on the east side, we don't. And I see a lot of families. So, like my neighborhood, I know that after school, I'll see a lot of kids outside playing basketball. I don't know, walking the dogs. So we do have a lot of families. And then it's great for relocation because we have the hospital super close. We have that classic suburban vibe, very family oriented area. And crime wise, well, is it zero? No, nowhere has zero crime. Stuff happens everywhere. But if we're talking about property crime, like car break ins, leaving your valuables out there. Like I said, I've done it a ton of times and I've never had any issues, nor do I hear it from my neighbors. So, honestly, if that was to be in one of your biggest concerns, put your stuff away, lock your car, just like you would in any other big city. But it's not like, oh my God, I did that and my stuff disappeared, right? What you don't see here in Sonoma, I'm very, very grateful, is a lot of homelessness. We do have a little bit of an issue with it, I think, and it's gotten a lot better this year and last year. But years before, right after COVID, we used to see a lot of like homeless people, a lot of people asking for money. We don't get a lot of through traffic here in this area, so you don't see it a lot, but you see it a little bit more once you hit that into that downtown area. East Mesa is very similar to Sonoma. And the subdivisions are, well, the older homes have the bigger yards, bigger lots, older homes. Not as expensive as Sonoma, but they kind of go hand in hand when it comes to crime. I like out there is that the lots are a lot bigger, they're a lot more spread out, and a lot of that same family oriented, quiet vibe. People have lived in these homes for decades, very stable neighborhoods, a lot of retirees in that East Mesa, a lot of long term homeowners, which I mean says a lot for the areas, right? Very low crime overall. I think the difference from Sonoma to East is that you've got a little bit more of that lived in feel in the East Mesa. And those homes have been sitting there for like 30 plus years. I mean, that's not a lot, but it is a lot for outskirts of Las Cruces. Once again, whenever I go out and I show houses over there, I do see a lot of people out there walking their dogs, people jogging. I feel like it is safe. And I show houses late in the evenings in those areas. Well, the neighborhoods are a little bit more established. So if you're looking for a bigger yard because you have kids, that is a great option. Those areas are not as expensive. Now, you may have to do a little bit of updating to a home if you were to find something. Now, you do have a lot more subdivisions going up in that area because a lot of the builders have moved into that area. You know, like Las Cruces has just like grown so much in the last 10 years. It's crazy that it used to feel so far and now it just doesn't. Guys, I'm going to turn this on because it's getting dark on me. I decided to just kind of pull over so I could do this video because I was thinking about it. Let's hit a little bit on downtown because that's where a lot of our people that come and they visit from out of town, they love downtown area and they love Mesilla area. Now, these two are not they're not side by side of each other, but they have a little bit more in common in the sense of the charm and the older homes. Like that's probably the heart, the real heart of Las Cruces. You have homes there that have been sitting for a century. Now, when it comes to safety, that those are like a little bit more of my concerns. And it's crazy because you have some beautiful homes. Like I said, they're very old, but a lot of those homes have been fully remodeled. But you get a lot of traffic, like walking traffic. And I think that kind of just increases the crime rate. Now, I do love going there because it's got charm, it has history, a lot of like local restaurants, a lot of shops and like local shops. We're not big on like stores here, but you have a lot of people that make their jewelry, make their clothes, and they have their own little shops. It's super, super cute. And so that's why a lot of people like to live in that area, even though the houses are very old, to be able to walk to the farmer's market, walk to a restaurant, walk to a bar. We don't have a crazy nightlife regardless, but whenever we do throw our fiestas, either in Mesilla or in downtown, everything is walkable. But Las Cruces is small nonetheless, so you're not going to have to travel very far to go anywhere. The vibe is very different than Sonoma. I will admit that. Like I said, you get a lot more foot traffic in the sense of commercial kind of things than you do here. You get a lot more mix of people than you do here because here it's like all residential. But it does bring a lot of homeless individuals, okay? It is a little bit more urban style. Is it dangerous? I wouldn't say like dangerous, but I probably wouldn't be going out at night showing houses by myself in that area. Like I would let somebody know where I'm going to be. But is it dangerous like being downtown LA? No. Not at all. But during the day, I mean, it is safe. You're not going to get like crazy crime. I do have clients that live in that downtown area and they love it. They love being able to walk to restaurants. They love the character. They love the sense of community. But they are also aware of their surroundings. I have friends that live in that area and you cannot leave bikes outside. You cannot leave your cars unlocked in that area because they will go missing. So yeah, you'll have a little bit more of that like property crime in there and car breaks and things that you don't see here very much. Violent crime is still rare. So if you're coming from a city and you want places that are a walkable distance and you want more of that urban feel and you're comfortable with the trade-offs, downtown and Mesilla are great. If you're looking for that quiet place, not exactly what you want. But like I said, Las Cruces is a smaller city, so you're never going to get that full feel of downtown in the middle of any city. All right, so I wanted to touch a little bit on Picacho Hills and University area. So these two are not like in any together. Picacho Hills sits at the west of the city, University area sits at the south. But once again, hitting our outskirts, Picacho Hills is your higher end area, luxury, bigger homes. You have a golf course community, very safe overall. If you're looking at $700,000 and over, this is probably where you will end up. Lots are very big and the houses are very like, wow. And crime is almost non existent, okay? It is very quiet, very established, very safe. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the roads that you have to take to get to Picacho. You do have to go through a sketchy part of town to get there. But, once you get there, Picacho Hills is very enclosed. Like it has its own little clubs, not clubs, golf club, a couple of restaurants. It's kind of far, from everything, but the views are absolutely stunning, like worth the travel. And all right, so university area, this is a college town. Okay, so you've got student housing in the university area, rentals, a lot younger demographic. It is safe overall, but it has a college vibe, which means parties, noise, turnover in homes. Crime is mostly petty. Bikes get stolen. You're probably going to hear a lot more noise complaints once again because of all the college kids. It's not exactly dangerous, but it does not have the same feel as every other part of the town. I used to live closer to university back when earlier when I was younger. And so for me, like I said, I used to be a marathon runner. I would get up at 5 in the morning, 4:30 sometimes, and there would still be parties going, like people outside drinking their homes. But just so you know, like if you do live in that part of town closer to university, you do see that it does happen. Now, let me hit that homelessness question head on because people do ask about it. Las Cruces does have a homeless population. You'll see it mostly in downtown, around certain shopping areas, near some of the intersections. It has gotten better. I will admit that. But it still kind of does. It's out there. You don't see it a lot in the Sonoma Ranch. You won't see it in the East Mesa. You won't see it in Picacho Hills because those are like super far out. You don't see it in the residential neighborhoods really either, unless you live downtown. But it's going to be concentrated more in, closer to the commercial areas and downtown. Is it a safety issue? Well, not for the most part. I think it's more like a visibility thing. You might see someone panhandling at a stoplight. You might see someone sleeping near a business, but you don't see a lot of violent interactions. It is rare. That said, if you are moving from a place where you never saw homelessness, it might be an adjustment when you're downtown. But in your neighborhood, you're not going to be dealing with it. I know I don't see it here at all. And the honest truth, and here's what I tell every client that I work with, Las Cruces is a safe city overall. Like I've lived in some unsafe cities. And your biggest safety concern is the same as anywhere else. Lock your car. Don't leave your valuables visible. Be aware of your surroundings always. In parking lots, just be aware like you would be anywhere else. Violent crime is rare here. Property crime does exist, but it's mostly opportunistic, okay? Unlocked cars, packages left out. Different neighborhoods have different vibes. Sonoma Ranch and East Mesa feel more like the quiet suburbs. Downtown feels more like your urban suburb. Pick the one that matches your lifestyle. Compared to where you're coming from, if you're leaving Seattle, if you're leaving the Bay Area, Las Cruces is going to feel safer. We lower crime, it is quieter, it is a lot less chaos. Like I said, the question isn't whether Las Cruces is safe, it's which neighborhood in Las Cruces matches the lifestyle. So if you are serious about relocating to Cruces and you want help figuring out which neighborhood actually fits your lifestyle, not just what the stats say, let's book a 20-minute call. I had a couple not so long ago move here from the Northwest, and they were a little terrified about the safety here because where they came from, it was super quiet. They kind of didn't know where to expect. We did everything over the phone, like FaceTime and everything over email. They ended up out here in Sonoma Ranch. And 3 months later, they told me that they felt a lot safer than they did back at home. And I think it's a little bit of that combination of having good neighbors and just them living in that specific neighbor area. Like I said, we have incredible people here. Like I love my neighbors. I really do. Very helpful people overall. So the bottom line, safety isn't just about crime stats. It's about finding a neighborhood that fits how you want to live. So let's find yours.